Welcome. In this video, we're going to do an unboxing and overview of the WASP Hero Pack for Marvel Champions, the card game. So down at the table, feels like it's been over 2 months since I've done an unboxing for Marvel Champions, but WASP has finally arrived. So you can see in here, we get one complete pre-built deck for her, 31 new cards we can use in other hero decks, and the Nemesis Beetle. So let's go ahead and dig on in. So in typical fashion, we get a small poster of WASP, and on the back side, a little bit about her deck. So it talks about the foldable card. So much like Ant-Man, it's a 3-sided card. We've got her alter ego side, tiny side, and giant side. Then they talk about some new keywords. So team up, also out in the Ant-Man set. So to include a card in team up, in your deck, your chosen identity must match one of those named characters. Then we've got piercing, which isn't exactly new, but any tough status cards from the target attack is be discarded before dealing damage. Then some rules clarifications. How does changing between the 3 forms work? She can change from alter ego form to either hero form, and from hero to alter ego, or from one hero to the other hero. And what happens when a basic thwart power or thwart action divides threat removal among schemes? Each scheme is considered to have been thwarted. In these instances, follow the standard rules for thwarting schemes. And very similarly, what happens when a basic attack power or attack action divides among different enemies? Each enemy is considered to have been attacked. In these instances, follow the standard rules for attacking enemies. So that will probably be more important if several of your enemies have retaliate. And of course, she comes with aggression. So starting out with her main card, Nadia Van Dyne. See, she's got a recovery of 3. She's got Girl, G-I-R-L, which I had to check up because I'm not too familiar with that. Geniuses in Action Research Labs. So an enterprise to assess female scientific minds and convince S.H.I.E.L.D. that their list was outdated and in need of revision. So for Girl, the action is shuffle up to 2 cards with a printed mental resource from your discard pile into your deck, limit once per round, hand size of 6, hit points of 11. Then in her tiny form, thwart of 1, attack of 1, defense of 2, small but mighty. Is a response after WASP or an event you play defeats a minion or side scheme, deal 1 damage to the villain, hand size of 5. And then in giant form, thwart of 2, attack of 2, and a defense of 3. And all the asterisks, threat you remove using your basic thwart power can be divided among schemes as you choose. And then damage you deal using your basic attack power can be divided among enemies as you choose. And a hand size of 5. So that's a little bit better than Ant-Man's for the hand size in the giant form. Then dividing the rest of the cards out, we've got her 15 basic cards, aggression, basic, and then other cards. So starting with her main cards, got Ant-Man, cost of 4, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 health. While you are in giant form, Ant-Man gains the giant trait and gets +1 attack. And when we're in tiny form, he gets a tiny trait and +1 thwart. It's not bad for a cost of 4, having a 3/2 depending on what form we're in. We have 2 giant helps. So to thwart hero action, remove 3 threat from a scheme, remove a total of 4 threat dividing among schemes as you choose instead if you're in giant hero form. So pretty good paying 2 to remove 4, however we choose. Then 3 pinpoint strikes. Hero action, deal 7 damage to an enemy. If you're in tiny hero form, this attack deals 1 additional damage to that enemy and gains overkill. So the potential 3 to do 8 damage and overkill seems really good. Then 2 rapid growths. Hero Interrupt. When you use one of your hero's basic powers, change to your giant hero form and get +2 to that power for this use. So it costs a 1 for that we can use for any of our basic powers. And it's a free change. So we can use this to go to giant form, then use our other ability to go back to tiny form. Like that card. 2 Wasp Stings. Hero action, if you're in giant hero form, deal total 4 damage divided among enemies as you choose. And if we're in tiny form, deal just 5 damage to an enemy. Still really good. Because in the core set, we paid 2 to do 3 damage. Here we're doing 2 to 4 to split, or 2 for 5 damage to one enemy. So that's really good. And 2 Pimp Particles that we had with the Ant-Man set. So after you spin this card, heal 2 damage from your hero if you're in giant form. Draw a card if you're in tiny form. So really good there. And you got Red Room Training. While you're in giant hero form, gain Retaliate. Sounds good. While you're in tiny hero form, your basic attacks gain Piercing. So situational. But still pretty decent, I guess, if we can get that out early and stay in giant form for a while. Her Biosynthetic Wings. Gains the aerial trait, which there's few cards that trigger off that. Interrupt, when you would take any amount of damage. If you are in tiny hero form, exhaust this to prevent 1 of that damage. So that can potentially pay for itself. Then her helmet, are in giant form, +1 thwart. Tiny form, +1 attack. And I kind of like that one. Typically, you're paying 2 for +1 attack if you're in aggression, or +1 thwart if you're in justice. So this gives you both those options, and you can still put those other cards in play. So I'm good with that one. Then the aggression card, starting with some allies. We've got Thor, Jane Foster, cost of 4. Thor to 1, attack of 2, 4 health. After you play her from her hand, deal 2 damage to the villain, 3 damage instead if you paid for this using a physical resource. And I guess with that ability, the 4 makes it worth it, and the 4 health is pretty good too. Wasp, Janet Van Dyne, so that's a different person, so not an issue having both those out. 4 to 1, attack of 3, starts with 0 health. She gets +1 hit point for each Pim counter on her. It's an interrupt. When she enters play, place a Pim counter on her to a maximum of 3 for each energy resource you overpaid for her cost. So I think if we have an energy-heavy deck, that seems good to me. Haven't really been paying attention what we have. So 3 there, but we do have 3 wilds. So potentially 6 out of the base 15 there. And they gave us 6 more in here. So 3 into the fray. Cost of 3. Hero action, deal 6 damage to minion. For each point of excess damage dealt by this attack, remove a threat from the main scheme. I like. Even without the additional there, 3 for 6 is good. So the extra ability to deal with excess seems like a really good card. 3 surprise attacks. Hero response. After you change form, deal 3 damage to an enemy. 4 damage instead if you paid for this using a physical resource. So spending 1 to do 3 or 4 damage. That is excellent. And of course, we've got 2 of the power aggressions. Max 2 per deck. Double the number of resources this card generates when paying for an aggression card. And 3 boot camps. Cost of 3. Play under any player's control, max 1 per player. Each ally you control gets +1 attack. That doesn't seem too strong to me unless you're playing with someone that went heavy into leadership. So that probably won't make it into most of my aggression decks, but it does have a purpose depending on where your other heroes are. Then 3 lion weights, max 1 per player. Hero response. After a minion engages you, discard lion weight to deal 3 damage to that minion. Cost of 1 to deal 3 damage to a minion coming in. Yes, please. Then the basic cards, we have Ironheart. Ally, cost of 2, thwart of 1, attack of 1 with 2 health. After you play her, draw a card. So yes, just getting a cheap ally in play, that works. Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Cost of 3, thwart of 1, attack of 2 or 3 health. If you play Spider-Man from your hand, choose thwart or attack. He gets +2 to the chosen power until the end of the phase. So a 3 cost hero, 3 health, 1 and 2, but his first turn could be 3, could be 4 damage. I'm liking that one. Then we have a Swarm Tactics, which we've seen in the other set. Team up, Ant-Man and Wasp. Max 1 per deck, hero action, change to your other hero form, and ready your hero. So good in her deck, even better if you're playing with someone else being Ant-Man. Then we have our base 3 energy cards. Well, Energy, Genius, and Strength. 2 of the Power in All of Us. Max 2 per deck. Double the number of resources this card generates when paying for a basic gray card. I'm liking that. I mean, basically that is our... Where did I put it? Now we have a Power of Aggression type card for our basic card. So that really helps people that want to just go all gray. Really good. Then a Quincare, which we've seen before, and if you've got an Avenger character, definitely have this in your deck. So play only if your identity has the Avenger trait. Exhaust this to generate a wild resource. Very good card. Then we take a look at our obligation. Red Dreams. Give to the Naughty Van Dyne player. May flip to alter ego form. So we can exhaust her to remove this from the game. Or discard each card with a printed mineral resource from your hand and take 1 damage and then discard this. So this is the basic card. You exhaust to get rid of it from the game or something pretty bad happens to you. And for a nemesis stuff, Mother's Orders. It's an additional cost for each hero to make their basic attack. That hero must spend 1 of any resource. So that's going to be annoying for a while. Then we have Beetle, Schema 1, Attack of 1 with 4 health. Guard, Forced Interrupt. When Beetle is defeated, choose to either spend a physical resource or shuffle Beetle into the encounter deck. So not the strongest, but can be annoying, it looks like. Beetle Armor, Mark 4. Attach to Beetle Fable. If you cannot attach to the villain, attached character gets +4 hit points. I guess even after you beat them up, this will stay on there, so it's going to be a one-time use on your villain or annoying with the Beetle. Then 2 Beetle Manias. For an alter ego, when revealed, gain Surge. If you're in hero form, Beetle attacks you with +1 attack. If no attack was made this way, this card gains Surge. So that takes care of all of her cards. Now for the additional cards, we got 3 Running Interference for Justice. Play only if your identity has the Avenger trait. Hero action. Thwart, remove 2 threat from the main scheme. Remove X additional threat from the main scheme to a maximum of 3, where X is equal to the villain stage number. So main scheme only. It's going to be doing 3 to 5 threat removal for a cost of 2. So pretty good in my opinion, especially if you're playing in expert mode. And for leadership, all for 1. Hero action, deal 3 damage to an enemy and exhaust any number of Avenger characters you control. Deal 1 additional damage to that enemy for each character exhausted this way. So I guess that allows you to keep your allies and play a little longer, so they're not going to take a damage for attacking. They're just going to exhaust and add 1 to this. And then Perseverance. For protection, hero response, after you change form, give your hero a tough status card. I like that. Then lastly, our basic cards, 3 athletic conditionings. Hero action, discard 1 stun or confused status card from your hero. So I guess to me that's going to be situational, so depending on what villain we're going after, if I know they're heavy on stunning or confusing, then I might throw this in there. So that is everything for the WASP Hero Pack. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video, so please click on the like button below and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.